Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're getting the full Maine experience here. Lots of rain. Got to a shelter last night at 9 p.m. It was a 6-person shelter and there were 5 people in it. Sound asleep, spread out. So I couldn't get in there. And I had to go on down the trail and set up my tent. By the way, that is poor trail etiquette. You can't assume that another person isn't going to come later on. So if it's a 6-person shelter, you should leave a slot for that 6th person. I know it makes things tight, but that's what the shelter was built for. Anyhow, a lot of my gear is wet. My tent is, of course, soaked. But anyhow, finding water is not a problem anymore. We've had lots of rain. The streams are really rolling. I met a guy named Energizer, and I don't know if I mentioned him earlier when I was talking about YouTubers and people who influence me. But Energizer did YouTube of his hike through the CDT, and I learned a lot about the CDT from him. So he's hiking the AT with his son, and unfortunately yesterday he injured his ankle pretty badly, and he's moving on slowly. Got, I think, 45 miles to finish, and I hope he makes it, but it doesn't look like a good injury, and it'll be tough getting up Katahdin with a bum ankle. So I wish him the best. Really nice guy and a great hiker. All right, I want to do the last segment in my series on what's wrong with our criminal injustice system, tongue-in-cheek there. And I'm going to do 2. One is, both have to do with the courts. To start with, we've got to streamline our trial system. It's become unduly encumbered by all kinds of procedural rigmarole that has little to do with the rights of the defendant or the duties of the prosecution, and that just lengthens the time that trials take, and so I'm not going to go through that bit by bit, but it's like I talked about Robert's Rules of Order. It's a big old thick book, and the court has a similar procedural process that is, much of it is unnecessary. So there's that. The next aspect has to do with appeals and the appellate courts. They should put their focus on the truth. And they say, well, we don't want to retry every case. And they're not retrying every case. They're looking at individual problems that came up during the trial. And instead, it's like a court of excuses. And so they'll say, well, you're procedurally barred for that. In other words, if you come up with new evidence, they say that, well, you should have come up with that at the time of the trial. Well, for various reasons, that may have been either hidden or unknown or whatever. But if that's going to cause somebody to be executed, and you're going to say, oh, you're procedurally barred from presenting the evidence that would exonerate you and allow you to live. Holy smokes, how do those judges sleep at night? Then they'll say things like, oh, well, that was a random error, and that error impacts what the jury hears and influences their decision. But the courts will say, oh, we hear that, we hear the evidence that you're bringing, or we hear the point you're making, but it wouldn't have influenced the outcome of the trial or what the jury's verdict would be. Well, if they know what the jury's verdict would be, why even have juries? I mean, really, just have one of those judges sit there, and because they're the all-powerful and they know what the juries think. So in Charles's case, they didn't hear the fact that his blood was not under the victim's fingernails. It was someone else who they've yet to identify. But it absolutely ruled out Charles, and the jury did not hear that evidence. Yet now they say, oh, you're procedurally barred from bringing up that issue. So appellate courts can do several things, and it all falls under the heading of relief. So they can grant a new trial. They can change the verdict. They can exonerate somebody. They can they can change the sentence. So there's lots of different things they can do, but rarely do they take action. It's they operate under the philosophy and the purpose of expediency, efficiency, and there's a few other things that they tend to back up the original version of the trial and turn a blind eye to any new stuff that comes up. And through all this, you'll notice that in every step, the truth is taking a back seat to whatever purpose that administrator of justice may be pursuing. And researchers now estimate that there are 72,000 innocent people in our prisons, and that about 6% of cases are wrongful convictions. And if you're satisfied with that, good for you. But wow, 6%, that's a lot of innocent people. Okay, so I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. This is bad in dry conditions. In wet conditions, it's really, really awful. As I've continued with this project, a lot of people are interested and they want to give me money, and I'm not on this hike to get money. I'm funding it myself, and I don't want to be beholden to anybody. But if you're interested in criminal justice and recognize how faulty it is, on my website, which is Trek for Tarzan, I don't know if it's .com or .org, I forget, but I have a list of organizations that I think are worthy. The Brennan Center for Justice, the Equal Justice Initiative, the Marshall Project, and on and on. But there's one in particular I'm interested in, and that's the National Registry for Exonerations, which is a volunteer group. It's I think based in some law schools, maybe one in Michigan, I forget. And you would think that the government would track this stuff. The judicial system would want to know when they got it wrong, why they got it wrong, and what they can do to fix it. But no, that's not the case. They want to, like I said, sweep it under the rug. They want finality. And so part of the problem is that every state has its own system. So we've got 50 systems plus the federal system, and really complicates things. Yikes. So I really think the National Registry for Exonerations is a worthy cause, and I'd like to see them get as much support as they can. But I appreciate all the people who have offered to give me money, and I know it comes from the heart. But like I said, for me, this isn't about money. It's sort of my last hurrah at age 70. And I'm not wealthy, but I can fund this, and I'm doing it. And so check out the Trek for Tarzan website. I also have a list of books, and if you want to look into it more, and podcasts and other news sources. And thankful for those who want to support it financially, but I'd rather see it go to some of those other organizations. And as for Charles, I mean, what's he going to do? Buy Cheetos from the commissary? He's got a great legal team, and they're doing it pro bono now. Their hands are tied in so many ways, but I really respect them and appreciate the good work they're doing, and I hope they can get him out. So, starting to rain again. I might have to pull out the umbrella. And that's it for right now. I'm at the top of Whitecap Mountain in Maine. It's one of the few mountains in the 100-mile wilderness, but I can't get a 360 view, but I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, I don't know if you could tell, these things are the size of washing machines and refrigerators. And this is the trail. Really, there should be some standards or something. This is it's out of control. Shame on the person who laid this trail out. Shame on them. This is ridiculous. You can do better, Maine. You can do better. Okay, no more moaning and whining. Just get it done. I'm on Chairback, Third Mountain. The Chairbacks are a series of mountains, so it's like one top with a bunch of little peaks, but they separate them out into different mountains. A lot of up and down, a lot of rocks and roots. No change there. So I'll show you what it looks like. It's surprising what you run across. It's some kind of ultralight aircraft. And I'm sure it did not end well for whoever was in it. This is called the Fourth Mountain Bog. And they have really good bog bridges here. Most of the time the bog bridges are rotting. But there are rare plants here. And I don't know if this is rare or not, but those are pitcher plants. And they're full of water. But they're certainly uncommon. There's some more, they're even bigger. So they're all through here, but something you don't generally see. And I'm delighted to find them. I'm approaching the south end of the 100-mile wilderness, and it has been a challenge. I would recommend anyone who wants to hike this section, if you have a climbing gym in your neighborhood, maybe spend some time there, because this has not been hiking. I've met 4 people with blown out ankles. 2 of them were through hikers. 1 is going for the final leg of his Triple Crown. He didn't do them all in 1 year, but it's a big deal, you know, and to get hurt that close to the end, hopefully he'll still be able to make it. But boy, he was really limping. It's a serious problem, and it's, when I say hike strong, hike safe, I mean every word of it. You really, it's critical to be safe and not just throw yourself down the trail. You have to watch every step with all these roots and rocks and mud and stumps and whatever it throws at you. Okay. I'm hiking along here fantasizing about food, and this is one that's going to tell my age, but you're probably aware of Twinkies and Ho-Hos and Ding Dongs and all those little snack cakes. Well, back in the day, there used to be one called Mickey's Banana Flip, and it was this kind of cake thing, and they smeared white cream on it and then folded it over like a taco, and it had banana flavoring. I don't know if that was in the cream or the cake, but they were always one of my favorites, and I haven't seen them forever. Maybe it was a regional thing, I don't know, but Mickey, wherever you are, bring those back. I could really use some with a tall glass of ice cold milk. Would be so good. Here we are at the Kennebec River. You can see northbounders waiting on the other side. I'll be going with a guy from Canada.
Quebec City.
Where?
Quebec City. Quebec City. We're separatists.
Oh, Quebec City. Yeah. But anyhow, the river is pretty formidable, and some people try to ford it. There are places to do that and other places not to do it. All right, I got to get my jacket on.
They did? Yeah.
So I made it across the Kennebec River on the canoe ferry. The canoe ferryman was a super nice guy. I enjoyed talking with him. And he stressed how dangerous how dangerous it is to try and ford that river, because you never know when they're going to release water and the level goes up really fast. But I recall this part of the trail from 2019 as being particularly, I'll use the word ugly. It follows a stream, but it goes up and down and up and down, and rocks and roots big time. The last day in Maine. Trail is actually had some good parts. The last section had a little tiny mountain, went up to 2,000 feet is all, and the trail wasn't bad. So it's leaving me on a good note, but still, I will be happy to be out of here and move on to Vermont. That sign lets you know you're entering the Glastonbury Wilderness, and this is where I got stopped last winter. Actually, I got about 10 miles into the Glastonbury Wilderness. And I encountered probably 3 or 4 feet of slush that was building up on my snowshoes. Microspikes wouldn't work at all. It looked entirely different. The whole thing was paved with snow. You couldn't see a treadway to save your soul. It was just a flat plain of snow. And so between struggling to stay on trail and struggling to power through that snow, I realized that I could get in trouble if I continued. So at some point I decided to turn around. Left Maine yesterday, so this will be the third time I've covered these miles. That's bonus miles for you. But I got to get it done and be honest about it. One other thing is, you'll notice I struggle with falling into third person and talking about we. There's a blaze on that tree. But I'm going to give up on trying to avoid that, because I analyze this. I feel like you guys, the listeners, are with me, and so subconsciously I don't feel alone, because you know, I have my support team that are sending me packages and getting me to the airport when I need to, and all the people that are following me on Instagram and YouTube. And so it seemed like kind of a group effort, and that's why I think I have a tendency to say we are doing this and we are doing that, and I just can't avoid it. All right. Vermont, near Stratton Mountain. I am standing on Prospect Rock in Vermont, between Stratton and Bromley Mountains, and it is just now starting to rain. It's supposed to rain all afternoon and into the evening. Leaves are changing, fall's coming. I'm on Baker Peak, and I didn't get here in time to do the sunset, but there's some bizarre colors going on out there. Hello, Mr. Porcupine. I think he's going to walk the AT with me. Oh, now I broke into a run. Yay, I'm back on trail. I had a Nero today. I was in Rutland, Vermont, and I had a problem, and I won't go into details, but it had to do with my ears and 5 months of improper cleaning, and then all of a sudden being unable to hear anything. So I went to an urgent care, got the problem taken care of, and now I'm back on trail. I'm in Vermont. This is where back there about a quarter mile is where I got dropped off on August 9th, and I moved north into New Hampshire. But now I have 54 miles to finish the AT. Yay. So I'm headed along that stretch of trail that goes east-west from the long trail. And that's what I'm up to. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll go as far as I can and then just camp and resume my journey tomorrow. And it's just an absolutely gorgeous day, and so no excuses for not really doing some big miles. Vermont is serving up kindness. Trail doesn't get any better than this. It's really wonderful and a lovely day. So I'm just enjoying it while I can. I think I said trail couldn't get any better than this, but it just did. Look at these rock walls. This is an old lane, I guess. They have massive rocks in some of these walls. It's just lovely. I'm in the Vermont woods, and if you look closely, you'll see some lines. There's a blue one there and some white ones. It looks like ropes. But these are carrying, they're attached to maple trees, and they hook the taps to these lines, and the lines collect the sap, and the sap flows through the lines into a collection vat, which is taken to the sugar shack, and they boil the sap to make syrup. And this system works great, a lot easier than hanging individual buckets from trees. But when a moose comes through, it causes problems. Or if a tree falls on the lines, that's a problem. So that farmers have to monitor that. Well, power lines are about the only place where you get any kind of view. On the near little ridge, you can see the leaves are changing somewhat, but that is washed out because of the sun in the distance on the ski slopes over there. So long hike today, really no views. Even when I get to Mount Killington, you have to take a side trail to the summit to get any views, and it'll be dark by that time. So this may be about as good as we're going to get today. My last day on the AT, I finish up today. This is not the most beautiful sunset I have captured on my hike, but it is significant because it's the last one on the Appalachian Trail. I'll be hiking to midnight to get to my the place where I left off, and then tomorrow I'll fly out west and try to resume the PCT the next day. So it's a big rush, lots of logistics to put all this together, but it's got to be done. Goodbye, Vermont. An unexpected break in the forest. And so we have one last view of the great state of Vermont.